Okay, welcome back, everybody. My name is Darson Grantham. This is the Market Makers of Iowa Real Estate podcast. Today we have a guest. I've seen his name out for a long, long time. I don't know how long he's been an agent. We'll have to ask his story on that. But he has made an impact on just the marketing side of how I've done business. He is a fantastic, does a fantastic job of getting his face out there, getting his word out there, and it's really cool. And we're excited to have him on here. Today we have Tim Scheib on here, and he's going to share with us I'm gonna basically ask him for his entire story, right? How did you start? How did you get to where you're at? What's impacted you today? But the reason that we're having him on here, and I have other guests on here, is when I started the podcast, I struggle with the number of agents that other agents talk to that are successful when they start in the business or they're just in the business, right? Because I believe, and I'm kind of living proof of it, the more successful agents that you talk to and hear about their business and you hear about how they do things well, the better your business is going to be, right? So today, it's going to be pretty real estate agent heavy, not necessarily lender heavy, but we'll get into lenders too of how do agents and lenders work together? How do you not? And what do you need to look out for? So Tim, give us a little a backstory. What did you do before real estate? Let's start there.
So I was in college and I was selling food at Martin Brothers. It's a wholesale distribution company.
Waterloo, Cedar Rapids?
Yep, Cedar Falls, yep.
Cedar Falls.
And they wanted me to drop out of college and take a sales job.
Who's the company did?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So I stayed in college. I finished it. I finished up my last year and they had a territory open. And so I moved to Southeast Iowa. I lived in Washington.
Yep.
And there I sold food for 4 years to schools, nursing homes, restaurants. And they had 700,000 in sales when I started. And I think we're at like 3.8 million by my fourth year.
Wow. How did you know that sales was like the thing, or what was that?
So, I don't really know. I went to school to be an art teacher and I wanted to coach. That's why I went to UNI. And I was there and it just seemed like every job I would get when I was in college was sales. And eventually I knew I was going to be in sales. And at that point I was like, I need to switch my major and see what I can do to get out of here as fast as possible. And so I just got a liberal arts degree and took a sales job with Martin Brothers.
Okay. So how did you know, I'm going to dig in, ask more questions, right? How did you know that sales why were you aligned with sales so early and so often?
Well, no, this is funny, right? So when I was in college, the only thing I was qualified to do is sales. Like I wasn't.
Because it was what you were.
I'm not an accountant. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. That's not my world. And selling was the one place that you get paid for what you do, right? Like you can grow as much as you want in sales.
Yeah.
And so when I was in college, I was like, well, what degree do I want to get? Well, liberal arts, it says you got to get so many hours from 3 different colleges. Okay. And so I was in sociology, I think, in business and education. And at that point I was like, man, if I go interview for a job, that's what sales is. You got to educate people, you got to understand people, and you got to know a little bit about business. And I was like, well, I guess that's my career path.
I qualify.
Yep.
And you didn't want to do like a cashier, a checkout, like what was it that deterred you from that? Any idea? Anything like fundamentally?
Well, so the same thing that got me away from education. I didn't want to work as a teacher my entire career and get a 10% pay increase. Yeah. I want to be paid for the work that I do. And sales is the number one spot for that. And there are times where I was like, so when I was at Martin Brothers, I thought, maybe I could be a territory manager and do this and that. And then I was like, looking around, I was like, the top salespeople make way more than the territorial manager. And that's when I learned a lot of the managers are those who can't sell or don't want to sell.
Yep.
And that's just what it is.
Awesome. How did you transition from that career to real estate, or what did that look like?
So I went to high school with Heath Moulton years ago, obviously. And he had called me and asked me if I wanted to, I lived in Washington. He asked me if I wanted to go to the Iowa Hawkeyes versus Illinois game in Illinois. And I'm like, okay. So he picked me up because I was right by Iowa City. He picked me up. We drove all the way out to the game, I think Champaign, Illinois, an 8-hour drive. And the whole way he was trying to get me to come back and sell real estate. What he did was...
Who is Heath? Help.
So Heath Moulton, he's a realtor here in Des Moines.
Okay.
He represents Destiny. He's with EXP.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what he did when he got out of high school, his parents sold real estate, and they were big players in the game. Cool. And he He went to college. He got licensed when he was in high school. We were friends in high school. He got licensed when he was a senior in high school. He turned 18, got his license. He held open houses. He went to college. He held open houses. Anybody that came in, he gave to his parents. He got paid. And he's like, he's still just finishing up his degree. We on our way out to Illinois. Well, he may have been done, but we're on our way out to Illinois. He's like, I have $100,000 in the bank. I own a condo, and this is because I worked selling real estate all through. And it wasn't me selling because I was too young. It was me generating the business and referring and just, hustling. And then he was like 23, 24.
It's like showing up.
Yeah, he's like 23, 24 at the time.
What year was this roughly?
2004.
Okay.
But he was also a good salesperson. And his dad used to, from what I understand, his dad used to sell papers, like ads and paper, newspaper stuff.
Old school marketing.
Yeah.
Old school. Yeah.
And every morning he would do a scripts on them. And so he grew up learning sales. So he was like the ultimate salesperson. He still is to this day. Like you sit down with him and you're going to be like, oh, I want to buy from him.
Yep.
But he's like, you need to come to Ankeny. And I wanted to get out of Washington. And I had grown my business from $700,000 to $3.8 million, but my pay was the same. And some of the older guys, they were changing some of the way the contracts were done, which reduced the amount of commission you could get when you go sell.
Which changes why you wanted the job anyway.
And then it's a corporate thing, right? Yeah. So like they divide your territory up once you get to a certain area, then you got to rebuild. And the top salespeople were like, if I were you, the way these change, I would go find something else. Yeah. And so I did. And I jumped all into real estate. 2004, I had one kid on the way. We're going straight commission. So I got licensed in Washington. I had some friends there that owned a real estate company. So while I was working, I did nights to get, I passed the exam, or I did my real estate class on a CD-ROM.
Yeah.
I said that to my daughter who was thinking about getting her license. She's like, what's a CD-ROM? I'm like, come on. But anyway, so I just jumped all in.
Yeah.
I moved back and square one and took off.
Okay, what did that first year look like for you? What did you cut your teeth on?
So the first week, so Heath is a salesperson, right? He's like, here's a Mike Ferry scripts. Take these scripts, learn them, blah, blah, blah. Go set up appointments. I'll come in and close them.
Mike Ferry is one of the top real estate coaches for the last X number of years.
Yep. And his son, Tom Ferry.
Nationally.
Tom Ferry's now number one.
Yep.
So back then, when you look down a street, you would see, 10 signs on one street. You'd see 3 sold signs. You'd see 2 for sale by owners, and you'd see all the other ones. And for sale by owners back then, they didn't market on the internet because
it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing. Internet was, but doing that wasn't.
Yep.
And so it was pretty easy. I would call up for sale by owner, and I'd be like, hey, I see your sign in the yard. Do you mind if I stop in real quick? I'm in the neighborhood. I'm a real estate agent. I just want to see your place, and we can just chat about what the value of your home is and whatnot. And
which is probably one of the few calls they got on the sign. So they're like, yeah, sure, come in.
Or, well, I'm busy right now. I'll be back. We'll be home today at 5. Oh, really? You can't do it right now? Yeah. And they say no, because 90% of them couldn't. And it's like, oh, do you know that there's 3 other houses for sale in this block? Yeah. And they're all listed with agents. Yeah. Well, a buyer is going to call one of those agents. And once they connect with those agents, they're not coming back to your house. It's just the way it works. Yep. They're like, we've had that problem. Why don't we meet tonight? We'll talk about it. So then Heath would come with me. Heath would go through his listing presentation. We talk about it. We get the listing. So my first week in the business, I listed it for sale by owner. I got a signed call and I sold it. I had a friend refer his brother to me. I sold him a townhome that happened to be a listing that we got. And then I had another listing that I listed and sold. So I sold I think in the first week and a half, 2 weeks, I sold 7 houses.
Okay.
Which was unreal. But it just took doing the work. And
I was going to say, so that sounds super easy.
Yeah.
What, is it easy?
So the thing is, yes, it's easy, but it's super hard. You know what it's like.
It's super simple.
You know what it's like, though.
Yes.
You look at the phone and you're like, I need to make a call. And then you're like, I can do this first.
Yep.
I can do that. And everybody does it. I still do it to this day.
Yep. Me too.
But stepping out and knowing hey, you got one option. You got no money coming in. You got a family. You got to make this happen. It happens. So now that first week or two, we got all those pending and I'm like, yeah. And then it was like, they all closed, had some money in the bank. And I was like, now what?
Yeah.
Right. But I did okay. My first year, I think I sold 24 houses.
Yeah.
And stayed for a couple of years at that range, and then I bumped it up a little bit.
And that was what year?
2004.
Four still. Okay.
Yeah, 2004. That was I came
First
in.
year.
Came in May.
Gotcha.
And just took off.
Okay. So us agents who started in 2020, y'all laugh at us like, oh, you had it so easy. What do agents like myself need to know about what happened in the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 time frame that will help us today?
That will help you today. Well, I mean, inventory was so different then.
I know.
I mean, we had 6,000 homes for sale back in 2006 and 7.
We have 4,000, roughly 35.
Yeah, we've dropped quite a bit.
It'll be 4,000 by the end of the year. We'll hit 4,000 this year.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's trending that way.
You know what? We should bet.
Yeah, that we'll never have 4,000 active?
I didn't say never. But by the end of this year, I don't think so.
Oh, at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because we have a pent-up buyer demand that we've never seen before.
Yes.
And as soon as those houses start coming on the market, they come on the market for a reason, because then people want to buy something.
Yeah.
They're just going to, I think we have more people that are waiting to buy than people that are waiting to sell.
Yep. I posted this, and I've probably shared on another podcast, so forgive me, but I work with a local lender, and they said they had, over the last year, they have 200 people who are pre-approved that have not purchased. Yeah. That's one lender. And if you math that out to how many lenders there probably are, there is more people that are in the wings than total transactions closed last year on market.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
bonkers.
there's no question that our pent-up buyer demand is higher than it's ever been. I mean, you can't take rates from 3% to 7% in like a 2-month period and not cause that kind of a problem.
Yep. Okay, so what can we take away? The market's different. How do we decipher that? What do we as agents need to know? Because it's changed from 2020 to today.
You know, so the market's changed. The way we do business has changed. The way buyers and sellers look at selling and buying has changed. Everything has changed. So like the number one thing I can say is you have to adapt to today.
Okay, that's good.
It's like when you go to college, right? I'm going to go to college for marketing. Well, that teacher's got to put together their marketing syllabus and do all this, get it approved. Well, by the time they do that stuff's old news. It ain't working today. My daughter wanted to go to school to be in marketing, and I was like, don't do it. That's a waste of your time. You can maybe go for business if you want. You can learn some valuable stuff there. But at the end of the day, marketing, that's not the way to go.
Okay, so what you're telling me, and I think I believe what you're saying, but like the agents that's been doing it for 20 years, they don't have that much of an advantage over a newer agent if they don't know what's going on in the market today.
Correct. Now there are some advantages. Yeah. Word of mouth, clientele, like having a good reputation. Yes. That, I mean, you look at like the big dog, Rick Wanamaker, he's known for selling the big houses. People call him because that's the guy, right? Like that's, the high end, that's the guy. But that game is changing. Mm-hmm. I mean, like one of the things that I've tried to do is try to put out the best home tours possible. Okay. Right. Like I'm going to put out the coolest and the best, the most, get the most followers. That way, when someone who has a $3 million home, they're proud of their house. They want the best marketing, the best videos, the best footage, the best all around. They want as many people to see their beautiful home. Yep. So that's kind of the avenue I've gone, because I'm not a very good person to go out and rub elbows and do it. That's just not me. Like I don't. What
do you mean by that? Like be in the area of people that own $3 million houses type thing?
I'm not going to go hang out at a dinner party. I'm not going to go, to a golf course and just hang out at a golf course all day. Yeah. I'm not going to, that's just.
Do agents get business that way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get to know people, right?
Okay.
People still work with people. Yeah. And they're going to call their people before they just pick a name off of the internet.
Gotcha.
But I will say that I think that the internet is starting to have a greater effect because less people are being people, or less people are out talking to other people.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Working with agents. This is a question I ask most people that have come on. How do you know when you start a transaction or a conversation with an agent? How do you know like this is going to be a good transaction? Like this is going to go well.
It starts with communication first off. I mean, like if someone's trying to talk me down on, like trying to explain to me why the house isn't worth what I have it at, I already know, okay. Or if someone's too easy. Okay. Like, oh yeah, I got a buyer. They love the house. We're going to write the offer. That's so great. So great. I'm like, okay, they're going to come in, they're going to write the offer, and then what? Yeah. Like what's going to happen? I see that a lot too. Like all of a sudden the deal falls apart because the buyer gets cold feet because the agent.
Too easy.
Well, I mean, as an agent, if you go show someone a house, right? I'm out showing a house and this is a great house. This is a great house. Buyer's like, yeah, I don't really like that one. The next house. This is a great house. This is a great house. It's great. They're trying too hard just to get the sale.
Yeah.
And that causes
the agent. Okay. So the agent sold the house to the wrong person.
And that causes problems because they sold the right person the wrong house. Okay. And that causes problems because the buyer doesn't feel super confident in what the agent's telling them if every house is a great house.
Yeah.
That's why I firmly believe just being honest and like in when I'm working with someone, like I can tell if things are going bad. I'm like, hey, do they just want out of the deal? Because if they do, let's just make this easy. I want to get my seller's house back on the market. And oh yeah, they do. Okay, well then let's just get it figured out. Don't. So just being honest and communicating properly, and you can usually tell when someone's being authentic and when they're not.
Is that a learned thing that you've developed?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And
so time on task
will
result in being able to tell those situations.
Because you have all the different experiences, you know what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah. And like there are agents that I know that I'm friends with that so back in the day, Chad Ireland, I don't know if you know Chad.
I don't know Chad.
So Chad was the number one agent, I think, like maybe one or two in Coldwell Banker nationally. He had about 6 builders and sold just a pile of homes, like 50, 60 million a year. Wow. But I always knew, like, if I called Chad, it was going to get done. Like, he was, and I think everybody else knew that. So people were excited to sell his homes. Mm-hmm. And I've tried and I've wanted that to be what I follow after. Yeah. Because I know, like, hey, you're showing houses and you've got me and you've got this agent over here that doesn't know what they're doing, got a bad rep, whatever the case may be. You would rather sell your client mine because you want them to have a good experience.
Yes.
And so, like, I want agents to want to sell mine because I have a good team behind me, and we're going to make this deal good, clean, less stressful for everybody.
Yep.
And that's kind of the way I try to operate.
Yeah.
And I know I've rubbed some people wrong, and like, I get that. It's a highly contentious business.
And we're human, right? So, like, yes. Why is it contentious?
Because it's such a big investment, and like the buyers
between
and sellers,
agents or buyers and.
It's a combination. So like if I have a buyer that is super picky about stuff, they make me be the one to go to the agent, and that agent could get mad at me for coming to them, and I'm just passing the word. And it's like, hey, but we also have to represent our clients, so we got to do that properly, and that could really piss off another agent. And they're mad because their sellers now ticked off because we just told them that this didn't work, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's just crazy. Like I had one where. Just recently where the fireplace got left on, right? After the inspection. Yep. Well, the switch is around the corner. You can't see the fireplace from where the switch is. And it has 2 switches. One turns on a little ember on the bottom. The other turns on the flame. Well, the ember on the bottom was left on. And the sellers are out of town. They came back. They were mad. And I told the agent, I was like, look, I don't know what happened there. I don't want to blame the inspector for this because if you remember, the first time I showed the house, that fireplace had been on. And it was like 85 degrees in the house. So it's an easy thing to do. Yeah. And that squashed it.
Yep.
She's like, oh, yeah. And this agent's been around for a while. So that conversation happened. She came at me because her seller came at her. And it was just an easy conversation. Like, hey, look, I get it. Nobody did this on purpose.
Right. I think it's the majority of agents have good intentions.
You would think so.
The majority do.
Yeah.
It's when you're trying to represent your own client one way or another. Mm-hmm. And things can go haywire.
Yeah, they can.
Do you do a lot of communication via text, email, phone call? Obviously preferred is always phone call.
Yeah. I mean, mostly text. If I know it's like, I need to make this phone call, I'll make the call. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like you and I, we're busy. And if I have a question that requires a yes or a no,
right,
there's no need for me to call and have a 5-minute conversation about, can I go show the house tomorrow to their parents to measure for blinds or something, like whatever the case is, there's no need to have a long conversation about that. But if I have a client who's thinking about backing out because the sellers won't fix this, then I probably need to make a phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the detrimental or the fire thing probably wasn't, hey, did you guys leave the fire on? Go do this, do X, Y, Z. It's probably like, hey, let's get on a call. Let's figure out
If it was like that was a text conversation, but
was it?
Yeah, but it wasn't like it wasn't a heated one, right?
Okay, it wasn't you did this.
If it was like, well, you still should have, and then I would have called and been like, hey, we need to figure this out. Like
or they want you to do this. I'm like, whoa.
Right. Hold on. Now, if the house blew up or something, then I probably would have called. Like, oh my gosh.
First.
Oh my gosh, my deal's dead. No.
Cool. Tell me a little about like where your business is at right now.
Mm-hmm.
What's going well? Where's your business at right now? We'll just start there.
It's good. I mean, so
what's that mean?
It's good. I mean,
the market's good.
Well, we're down a little bit from where we were 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
We're about, I'd say we're pretty close to where we were back in 2018, 2019.
Okay.
Not quite though.
Yeah.
With rates, it's so tough.
Units, volume, is that what when you say good, like, is that how you calculate?
So my units are down a little bit, but my volume's about the same as it had been in the past.
Yeah. Have you seen Les's most recent, Les Allgrove's most recent market stat? So it's like, units are down a little bit, volume's up, like overall.
Yeah, because the value of homes went up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And new homes are more expensive. Yep. Everything costs more. But I'm optimistic for this year. Like a couple years, my goal has been, I don't know if you've seen it, but I do every Friday I do an update. I'm trying to sell 100 homes.
Nice.
Right? It's just like a thing I do on social media, and it's just it's fun.
Heck yeah.
And I know, like last year I knew I wasn't going to reach it. This year
you kept going?
Yeah, of
every
course.
Friday you posted?
Yeah, every I show my closings.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weeks there's no closings.
I love it because there's a lot of people who I struggle with goals personally because a lot of people start the goals and then halfway through the year you're like, I'm not even coming close to this, and they'll just stop even paying attention. I'm like, this is my personal struggle.
Yeah.
So I applaud you. That's awesome.
I mean, so like I've had this month so far I've got I think 8 closed, and I need to sell 8 to 9 per month.
Yeah.
Right. And so
to hit your number. Yeah.
So I'm way behind, but I always try and end the video with like, okay, here's a different, like either a story or what's going on in the market. Or so I started off with like, hey, it's Friday, my update, sell 100 homes in 2025. This week we had 2 closings. That's good. It's a good week. I'm happy to have 2 closings. If I had 2 closings every week, that'd be great.
Yep.
And then I say, there's a possibility rates might go down, or I say
something's going on.
Yeah. Something to just give a little bit of news. I don't know.
Do you promote listed properties on those?
No,
or like
not
something
on
you
those.
just took listed? Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we do like our listed stuff. We post those on all the social. I mean, you can only post so much, but stories get it. All my listings like daily. Like that's one of the things that we push out as much as possible.
You keep saying we. What's the team look like, or what does your business look like?
Yep. So it's myself, and then I've got Dora, who's my full-time assistant. She's been with me for 11 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she's like my everything in the business. She does everything for us. And then I got Ryan. He's our videographer. We hired him. Gosh.
And we're talking like he's not even in the room.
I know. He's like right over there. Like, I think like 2018, 2019.
Okay, cool.
But
is he any good? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so the funny thing is I hired him like with a Gary V kick. Like I need someone to always be there.
Yeah.
And we realized real quick that's really hard.
So hard.
Because editing takes forever.
Yes.
And so we ended up needing him, like, hey, if you're going to do video, let's also get you to take photos. So he was an artist. Yeah. He had a craft. Like a lot of these guys have crafts, right? Yep. And everything was dark, and Dora would let him know. Those
listing,
photos,
like listing photo stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Because it was like always dark and artistic. It's like, no, bro, they need to be bright and airy. And it took about a year to get him to break that habit. But once he did, we really started going. We started a company behind it.
Oh, cool.
Because there's so many guys that side hustle, like so many guys that side hustle. And it's like, all right, we'll have all these guys do videos.
Photographers. Every business.
Photographer and videography.
Okay, yeah.
And so like if you as an agent called up, it was called Real Vision. I don't know if you ever heard of it. But if you called up Real Vision, said I want to listing photos and I want to do a video, then we would call one of our people up to go take the photos and do the videos, and then we'd get them back, we'd process them, and then send them out.
Cool.
But the video, I told him from the get-go, I'm like, hey, look, I want you to only do mine because you have a style. Yeah. And if you start doing it for everybody out there, then the styles will look the same because that's your style. It's what it is.
Do you think that's true?
I know it's true. Yeah, because like if you have one person do 5 different videos, put them together and just watch. You'll get the same slow-mo you get the same slow-mo, the same shots.
I would argue the number of people that watch both videos is so low.
Yeah, but
I get you. I get it.
One of the things about me is I want to be different. I want to be ahead of the curve.
Okay.
I want to be unique. And so it didn't happen that way because he started being more involved in everything, and it was too hard for him to let other people. And it got to the point where, like, you know what, we sold it to one of our guys so that he could just focus.
The videographer, the company. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
To one of our guys so he could just come back and just focus with me.
That's cool.
Yep. So that's why he's here today doing the documenting and
that's awesome.
Getting content.
I love. Do you follow Gary Vee close?
I used to.
What stopped you?
Just hear the same thing that I heard for 5 years.
It's not new.
No. No, but I mean, I still will listen to some of it. I listen to a lot of Tom Ferry.
I was going to ask coaching stuff. Yeah. Like, what is that? We'll just dig into that right now. How has coaching influenced you? It sounded like Mike Ferry early on, at least some
just
capacity.
Scripting, yeah. And then I started with Tom Ferry. Gosh, it's got to be about a decade ago.
Okay.
But I've been in the elite program for like 7 years. I had the same coach for 7 years.
Awesome.
And she retired last year, and I got
a
new coach. Her name was Mary Holes.
Okay. I coached with Patrick Ferry, Tom's brother.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I've been in that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I would say that a lot of it I already know, and I'm stubborn. I'm not easy to coach. I know that in real estate because they'll tell you, oh, you got to make this many calls. You got to call these people. And I'm like, do you know, I don't have time for that.
Yep.
Like I want to, trust me, I want to, but I'm running all day long. And then when I don't, it's like what you said, when you can't hit your goals, you just stop. Right. Yep. So like my goals are to call expireds and call these people and call my contacts. And then I don't do it. I feel like a failure. And so like the long-term goal, selling houses, fine. Like 100 houses a year, that's my goal. I'll shoot for it all year long. But making calls every day and doing this, no, it drives me nuts.
Yep.
So my coach is constantly like, well, I feel like sometimes I want this more than you do. I'm like, you don't.
Your new coach says that?
Yeah. I'm like, you don't. I know you don't, but I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Like, I get it.
Yeah. You're like, coach me through that, sir.
But he can't.
I know.
Because I'm the only one that can make that time.
Yes. What is it? Like, tell me, what is it that would free up your time to be able to do that stuff?
That's the thing. Like, hire another person. But the other, like, I've tried hiring marketing people. I got Ryan to do video and photo, but I've had marketing people.
Yeah.
And
your standards are high.
But they don't. I mean, they're not high.
Yeah.
Do 5 stories a day.
Yeah.
I don't know what to post. I want 2 posts. Like I would say, email me 2 posts. Like I want photos and description for a post. So at night, I can just take the photo and copy and paste and put it on. And if you send me 2 a day, I may not use them every day, but at least I can always go back to them
and pull them and put them
when I'm in need. And it was like, well, I would never get them. And there's multiple people I have had hired, come and gone. It's like, this isn't that difficult, but I also understand like they try to be in my brain and they can't. So it's difficult for them, even though I've told them 100 times, I don't care. Just give me something.
Yeah.
So it's been,
I know.
And you know, like I've said this so many times too, like if someone did what I want them to do, they'd probably be out there on their own because you could make it. And I do have high standards. I do have like high expectations because I'm a driver. Like, and it's hard for me to pull back. And you know, my wife is really good at that. And she's also
Does she work with you?
She's a realtor as well. Okay. Yeah, but she's really good at like, hey, Tim, back off a little bit. You got to remember they're not you. You know, let them have space. And I would try it. It wouldn't work. And it's just like
Gary Vee will say, no one, you can't train someone to own the business like you do because they don't own the business.
Correct. He also says, hire fast, fire faster.
Yeah, you're like, I got that done.
And I suck at firing people.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, I'm not good at
it. Not Ryan. We're not firing Ryan. Yeah. So tell me about your marketing. Like, where has it evolved from when you started to where you're at now? Like, I love marketing more than real estate personally.
Of course. And
most agents don't get that though.
If you watch my content I put out, and I've got so many videos, so you'd never find it, but one of the things I've always preached is find your passion and learn how to put your passion into your business. Okay. So if your passion's marketing, well, you're already there. Yep. You already know how you're doing that. But like I told you, I was going to be a photography teacher. I love photography, right? Well, I saw real estate as an opportunity for me to do my photography because I was back in 2004. The pictures were click with the little digits on the side, scan them in, put them in. Yep. Well, I was like one of the first people in my mind that came with a real digital camera that knew how to edit on Photoshop and lighten rooms and darken and actually make things look pretty decent, which look terrible today. But back then it was like a deal. And I'm putting a lot of photos online. Well, I knew how to go into those websites on the back end and add 20, 30 photos, which back then it was like you got 12 photos online. Yeah. And so I used my photography there, right? And so as time went, it was like 2012, 13 that video started coming out. And they're like, oh, you need to do video. And I was like, oh, man, you can do slideshows and make them a movie. So I did that. And then all of a sudden I was in front of I was in front of a crappy quality camera, which wasn't
still
cheap.
Expensive.
Yeah. And it just evolved. Like it just continued. Like I started doing my videos in 2012 and I've been doing them ever since. I think I got over 4,000 videos on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Where are you at ahead of the curve right now? Where do you think in marketing?
Oh, I want to say just understanding what platforms are there and taking off. And like if new platforms are coming, I'm going to be ahead of that.
Yeah.
I've got some pretty good contacts with people that are in the know on that stuff that I talk to on a weekly basis. And I think with like just my followers on TikTok, and I know TikTok going away, but it's not going away. It's not going away. It's not going away. And I knew it was never going away. I knew it was all just a show. But with TikTok, that is a big one, right? Yeah. And I think YouTube is one that is a sleeper. That one's been really hard.
Yeah.
Like YouTube is the dinosaur, and since it's a dinosaur, it's 5 times as hard to get traction on. Yep. And recently I've been able to get my following up over 2,000, which I think is great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For a real estate agent. Facebook, I've kind of backed off a little bit on Facebook, but Facebook was my big start in social media.
Let's go into each one. How do you like decipher what does each one do for your business and like what you're, are we buying or selling type thing? So like, Facebook.
Just study the analytics. Like I have 7,000 followers on Facebook and I've had 7,000 for quite a while and I get 12 views on a video. Okay. I get 12.
And Facebook posts, Facebook reel, like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter for me. Oh. And I'm like, and the only way you get
stories,
the only way you get anything with Facebook is if you pay for it.
Okay.
Because the Facebook pages don't get pushed out unless you pay.
Gotcha.
And that's frustrating. Instagram, we really had a lot of success on Instagram. I think we're at 23,000 followers on Instagram. Stay out in front of on stories. Our stories on Instagram go to Facebook too. My reels on, if you put a reel on Instagram, it also is seen on Facebook. Yep. It doesn't count on Facebook. I had one that had like 100 million views, and I think
100 million?
100 million.
Jeez.
And I think like 70% of them were on Facebook reels. Oh. Yeah. So I know it can be seen, but the only way I've had success is through Instagram.
Yeah. How do you, I'm assuming you track leads from that. Have you gotten an appropriate amount of leads for the time that you spent, you think?
I don't know if, like direct leads, I don't think it's hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. But like my coach will say, well, why don't you just ask them? Why don't you just ask them? Well, because someone could call me off of one thing and then a month or two later when I'm talking to them right before closing, they're like, oh yeah, we watched all your videos. Oh, okay. So it came from my videos. Yeah. And he's like, well, then ask him which videos.
Really? Yeah.
Like what platform? Like, so marketing has always been in my mind.
Omnipresent style.
It's like everything together. Like someone you pay for a Zillow lead, right? Or to be on a zip code for Zillow and they see your Facebook, and then I had an ad on the radio, Bet Your House, and someone would see Zillow, they would see Facebook, and they'd go, oh, that's the Bet Your House guy. So which one was it that they got to call you? Yeah. So in my mind, you have to cast a big net. You got to be everywhere. Yeah. That way they see you in multiple places and be like, oh,
it's going to be more effective if you're everywhere.
Yes.
And if you're on one of those platforms that you can't track directly, right? Because like Google pay-per-click, like you can track that directly. Yeah. That's super easy. Now, Facebook, not as much, but hey, someone in my, that likes me on Facebook or we're friends on Facebook, friends on Facebook, right?
Or if they DM you, right?
Yes, DM's easy.
That's an easy one.
It's easy of like, hey, they reached out because of this, but they might have watched YouTube. Yeah. Right? Like I've cold calls investors before, and this guy wanted to meet and talk about a property that he had wanted to list or whatever. And we didn't end up listing it. And then he came to one of my investor meetups. So I do investor meetups in once a month. And then I listed a multifamily,
Yep.
And then he called me from the sign from the multifamily.
But yet,
yep. But it like, is it that, or is it the cold call, or is it the investor meetup that I did that actually got me? Because would he have called the sign when he knew my name after seeing this? Like, because he called Zillow first.
Because if it was my name on that, he might have called.
Yep. I don't know. So it's so fascinating. And there isn't this is the answer.
So do you find it like in our world today, is it really difficult because there are so many real estate agents? Do you like?
I don't succumb to that mentality.
You don't?
I don't, because no one is picking the best realtor. Mm-hmm. I've yet to find anyone who's like, I called you because you are the best. They call you because they know, like, and trust you already. Or maybe it's just you're on a sign that you listed a property. So there's an inherent amount of trust there that you know everything about this property.
So you've been in it since 2000.
I have.
So I've got clients that date back to like 2010.
Yeah.
I've had a number of clients that are like, oh, my sister-in-law just got her license. I have to go with her. Yep. And so that is the number of, so that's a number.
It is, but you have, don't take this the wrong way.
I won't.
There's something that you have done that has not built the trust that proves you're going to provide a better value than her for the same dollar amount.
So when that client calls me and says, hey man, if I fire her, will you help us out?
What do you mean? Yeah. I mean,
that means I have.
Yeah.
But
But on the front end, right? And so if you did all of your content about that story, you would have less people that use the person at church.
I guess I got a video to make.
Right? Like, that's the argument.
Yeah. No,
right?
I get it. But
yes, you're going to lose some.
It's so hard to stay in front of everybody. And when the numbers, like, so, you know, like when you get older, right? And a lot of people want to retire and you go to sell your business. Selling a real estate business is nearly impossible because everybody knows 4 or 5 agents. So like if I buy your book of business, all your people are going to call the other person they know. They're not going to call the guy that just bought your book of business.
Because they haven't built the trust that you had with them.
Correct.
Right. They know that, you know, if that person's name had been on all of the marketing in the last 3 years,
maybe
they might have.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's the transition. I don't know. That's how I would see it.
Yeah. And that's like one of the things that, you know, I've explored is doing just that. You know, you team up with someone, you know, that they're on their way out and you say, hey, look, we'll set up a system where you can still get paid while you're retired, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I don't think arguably that person, the agent who has built their business on their own name, doesn't actually have a business.
Right.
Or at least it's a percentage of what it would be if it was the yellow chair business, real estate business.
And even at that, I still see that as a major struggle in real estate just because there's so many agents. Like everybody knows 4 or 5.
Yep.
And I know myself, like if I had this guy I always work with, they retire, I know 4 or 5 people over here, I'm calling one of them.
Yeah.
Even if they built the trust in that person, I'm still probably calling one of them.
Ooh. If they built the trust, like
it would really have to be.
Yes. You'd have to, years in the making. It's not I'm just going to sell my business this year. But a percentage of their business would go to whoever they said.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's not that you couldn't sell it. You just couldn't sell it for what you think it's worth.
And that's why I try and sell myself with, you know, an agent. I've been in the business for 20 years. Yeah. I sell a lot of real estate. I know the market.
I know your story.
So if you want to have a better result, team up with me. So when we go, your people are more likely to work with me because I have a track record.
Yeah.
And that's part of my sales pitch to that agent that's looking to retire.
It is a fascinating number of agents that don't sell their business. They just fizzle out.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
They hang it up. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I mean, part of it could be they get to the point where they're not doing much business because they are so old.
But at some point there, like, you're just like, you're like, I wish I could have just had a coffee conversation with them and just shook them and said, hey, let me start helping you transition out of this and I will pay your grandkids, whatever referral.
I've made 2 calls like that. And one said, I don't talk to other agents. And
don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, right. And the other was very welcoming to it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen agents in our office they've done that with other agents.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, they don't talk to other agents. Too fun. Okay. What about answer something like, okay, an agent's been in the business for 20 years. What is something they need to know today that has changed drastically from when they started? Help them out.
someone who's 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years in the business.
And what's changed today.
Yeah, like what do they need to make sure that they're like not putting their head in the ground, ignoring?
Social media.
Okay.
I mean,
all of them or just?
All of them. I mean, the number of times I hear from older agents that, oh, I don't have, the right face, or I'm too old for that.
Or my clients aren't on Facebook. And you're like,
yeah, that's not true. They definitely are.
Yes, they are.
They definitely are. And they'll go, you know, but I would say just like you have to step out of what you think is right and do what the people, you have to be in front of eyeballs. You have to be in front of people.
It's audience.
It's an audience. And like skipping out on social media because it's just not your thing is like saying, calling my past clients is not my thing. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, so you just always have to adapt, and the internet's so strong you can't ignore it.
Yeah. So there's a number of deals that you could probably do as an agent that's been in the business 20 years and not do social media, right? Like they could keep a block of business. I don't know what that number is, probably 25 to 30 be my guess, and really not do anything with social media. Yeah. But if they wanted to grow at all or work less on those 20 or 30 deals, social media would be, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube.
I mean, the more you put yourself out there on social media and the more knowledge that you're able to spread through social media, the more likely you're going to get a call from somebody that's already going to trust you.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I just sold a house to a guy. He called me up off my YouTube video that I did with the city guy. And he's like, I want to buy a house in an area of town that's the best. And I can't remember exactly what he said. Like, you're the expert on the areas that I can get the most value out of my house and the most equity growth over time. I want you to help me. Sold him a house. A week later. It's like, but that, like, him listening to that conversation built up the trust in me because he's like, this guy knows what he's talking about. That's who I want helping me. Now, on the flip side, there's a lot of people that think that they can't call me because I have so much of a presence, video presence. Yeah, because like you see them all the time.
So busy.
But I'm not. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm not. Like, bring it on, man.
How do you bust that myth?
And I in my content, I do say I'm never too busy for you. I've got plenty of time, like especially my Friday videos. I had no closing this week. I got plenty of time. You know what I mean? But my goal is to sell 100, but I want to sell 150 and I can handle it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting to that point. But yeah, that's like, there's a give and take to it. And it's a fine line, and you got to be okay with some people not calling you because they think you're just too busy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely on the socials. I would even, like, to me, I've looked at like Facebook as more of a database nurture than a
That's exactly
building my business. So like you said, I haven't had very much growth in my database, but you're like, well, if 7,000 people trusted you as an agent, you wouldn't need to do any other marketing.
Correct. Yep.
But unfortunately, Facebook doesn't work that way, and whatever. But it's free, so.
It is free.
Whatever.
Well, kind of. Unless you want to be in front of people, then you got to pay.
I don't know. You were 100 million views on Facebook Reels.
Yeah.
So, cool. Anything else you want to share with agents working well together with other agents or building their business? How could you help them?
I would just say communicate, man. Like, just, and don't, keep your personal feelings out of it. Like,
yes.
And that's hard.
During a transaction.
I have times with that too, but like at the end of the day, like I said earlier, if someone wants out of a deal, it's, hey, they want out of a deal. Let's just get this over with. Let's move on. Or, like multiple offers always cause a lot of stress. And I always tell people, I hate multiple offers. This isn't my goal. Or if someone's like, hey, are you guys going to,
as a listing agent?
Yeah. Are you guys going to look at all offers? As they come in, we'll look at them. So like if you get me an offer and we don't have another one and we negotiate it, you're the one. You're it, man.
Yeah.
But if we're negotiating and another one comes in, I have to do what, we have to do and go to multiple offers.
Yeah.
And I try never, like, there's been situations. So like, this is total off topic, but like I have a buyer for my own property and there's multiple offers. Now you're in a bad spot. And
happens a lot.
I'm as transparent as I can be. And I tell all of them, when I say I have my final offer on here, email me at this time. I'll, and like I make it, I screenshot, I make it very apparent. Like, hey, my client told me what their highest and best is. I'm not basing it on your offers.
Yeah.
I try. I mean, but like you can always finagle and people can always think you're a snake, but
the truth will come out.
Yeah. 100%.
Where do you think the industry is? I'll wrap it up with this. The industry of a real estate agent, is it a good time to get into the business or be in the business, or is it something that you're like less than positive about?
No, don't do it. Don't get it. No, I'm just kidding. Stay away. It's my business. I think the industry is going to stay. I mean, I don't think that I get a lot of hate on social media. I mean, there's no need for an agent. They're going away, blah, 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 blah. But
right.
I mean,
there's no data that proves that. So
like I said earlier, people do business with people. Yeah. And when you're looking at houses and I'm sure you've experienced this, when you're working with a buyer, they look at you like, what do you think?
Half of them want the answer.
They really want they value your opinion. Mm-hmm. They want to know, and a computer isn't going to give that to you because the computer's not walking through all the houses. They might be able to help you with the paperwork.
For sure.
Dad back home knows how to, I can get an offer written. Good for you. That's great. But there's a lot to this that just people don't understand. Yeah. And so people need people. So I think the business is going to stay there. But I think that the growth of teams has been massive.
Yeah. Will it continue?
I think it will. I mean, they said 70% of the agents didn't do any deals last year. And I think a lot of that's due to the fact that a lot of them are on teams and the main person takes the volume.
So it's not actual truth.
Correct. But I
never thought of it that way. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams here in town where the top agent takes
all of them.
Yeah. I have three, my wife and two other people on my team, and I want them to succeed. Right. And so I give them their volume. I'm on the deal so that I can help manage it, but and I kind of have with my goals, I want them to be me. Yeah. When I win an award, I want them to be me. I don't want it to be
another agent be like, well, I gave him one of those.
Right. I just
got that because of me. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Awards in general, I struggle with them a lot because they mean so many different things to so many people.
They do. It is
whew.
Yeah, it is.
Every brokerage does them different. MLS is doing them different. States do them different.
Yep.
But they're marketing.
They're neat. They're neat to put on the shelf.
Yes.
They sit on my shelf right behind me.
Yep. I get it. Cool. I appreciate it, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming on here.
Yeah, I'm glad I did.
Keep killing it. Hopefully we can do a transaction together. I can get you closer to that 100 number goal.
You know what? That's what people say sometimes. They call me and they're like, hey, do I get to be on your board?
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. Do you put the name of the person, first name? No. Just slap up.
I put the house. Yeah. And sometimes I'll have a picture. If I know they want to be on the board, I'll put them in front of the house.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it's a real Polaroid.
Yes.
So you can't really see anyway. Yeah.
Well, it's not like it's not public to go research when you go. Anyway.
Yeah. You can figure it out.
Yes, you can figure it out. Anyway, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on, Ryan. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you at the next transaction.
Sounds great.